Oh,
About bien. ¿Tú? Hello, how are you? Good to see you.
all right. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all. Really excited to be here. And thank you to the hosts and the panelists. Just a quick housekeeping. We have got translation provided here. So English is channel 1, Spanish is channel 2, and French is 3. Thank you. So there are headsets in the audience and then for all of the speakers. So welcome. I am Nguyen Tara Key. I am thrilled to be here. I am with Resilient Cities Catalyst as a senior advisor and consulting to help stand up the Mediterranean Climate Action Partnership, which we'll hear about today. Just a quick note around RCC. We have had the pleasure of working with the regions that we'll hear from today, as well as many others, in this effort to build this actionable partnership across regions with Mediterranean climates. And RCC is thrilled to be serving as the secretariat to support the members in their work to drive collective action on the ground in their regions, as well as collectively and on the global stage as well. So I am so thrilled to be here, and I'm just going to actually hand it over to Mark to facilitate and moderate, and then I'll close up at the end.
Thank you very much. So first of all, thank you all to be here. It is a great pleasure. California Secretary Crawford, Monsieur Muhammad Ulja, and Silvio Rego from Santiago de Chile. I think it's the first time that we can already say that we are in the first steps of the Mediterranean Climate Action Partnership. And first of all, I may say, excuses for the delay, but we are doing things in a Mediterranean way. So a bit of delay is very Mediterranean. We have to do it also in this way. I would like to understand at first what are our main objectives as regions and how this network can be useful to the whole of us. So first of all, California, you had some big problems with droughts and then rains. I imagine this is one of your major problems. How do you think this is affecting to your region? And in this case, which are the main solutions of MCAP that can help to this? This way. Wait, no, we're good. Okay, perfect. No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good.
Well, in California over the last decade, we've broken many records, but they are not the kind of records that we want to break. 7% of our entire state has been impacted by catastrophic wildfire. We experienced the driest 3 years in our state's 172-year history that ended last October, followed only 3 months later by the wettest 3-week period that created catastrophic flooding. A year and a half ago, we also experienced our longest, hottest heat wave that no doubt killed people and almost disrupted our electrical grid. So these are challenges that we knew we would face with climate change, but our scientists, as recently as 10 years ago, told us these were the impacts we would be experiencing by 2050 or 2100, and we're experiencing them now. We talk about climate change as a clear and present danger, and we call ourselves on the front lines of climate change. And in recent COPs, we've had many bilateral meetings with other governments where we've learned that other places in the world are experiencing very similar things. And the commonality is the climates we share. Named after the European Mediterranean and the Mediterranean Sea, these are climates that are characterized by a certain distance from the equator, either in the southern hemisphere or the northern hemisphere. And our climates are similar in that traditionally they've had sort of 2 seasons, fairly temperate temperatures, a wet season. And what we've experienced over the last decade is faster rising temperatures as a result of climate change in the rest of the world, and increasingly extreme weather. So for us, we recognize that there is strength in numbers. We have a lot to learn from others around the world on the map behind you on what's happening. One area we have a lot to learn from our partners is on extreme heat, or frankly, parts of Europe, as well as we heard of a partnership that Santiago is involved with other major cities in the world. We want to learn. We also think we have a lot to share as it relates to technology and use of science. So we're very excited.
Thank you very much, Secretary. And as you know, MCAP is an alliance, a global alliance of the whole of the Bay regions in Mediterranean area. So we have from Australia to North America, but then we move also to South America, because it's not something about hemispheres. It's not something about continents. It's something really global. So these problems also happen in the Chile region, and there are some special objectives that you have to focus related with especially ecosystems, especially water. So can you explain a bit your problem in Santiago, what's happening in this region, and how can MCAP help to do all that?
Many thanks, Mark. By the way, I'm Mauricio Fabri. I'm the Chief of Environment and Climate Action in Santiago, Chile. I will try in English, although my it's not very well, but I will try, okay? Three thoughts. First, we need to give more power to subnational levels if we think about climate action. In Chile, we have the driest desert in the world, the Atacama Desert, and the Patagonia is much different. Maybe local governments are not much different if they are close to each other, but I think regional in climate is very important. And we are not yet there. We need to promote and give more power and funding for regions. And this is a good example. We are uniting forces to have one voice in the world. That is the first step. Second, we have emergencies. We have 3 emergencies that we all share. Droughts, with floods, extreme heat, and of course, we have fires. So I think one of the challenges and one of the opportunities is to share information, to share good practices, share also the scares we have, the pains we have. And then we need to focus on the future. That's my thought. We are in the emergency now, but what we're going to do to go through the emergency and have a most resilient cities, how we talk with nature, how we put in this conversation biodiversity and ecosystem services with us and our conversation and our projects, and how we can build resilience for our cities and our regions.
Thank you very much, Director. And in fact, in this global alliance, there's also Africa. And Africa, as a bioregion, is sharing the Mediterranean Sea. And that's why the name of the Mediterranean bioregions takes place. And in this case, there has always been the necessity, the need to increase knowledge about others. And this is the first step in order to share ways to do, because without knowledge, it's very difficult to make actions that are shared or understood by everybody. In this case, in the case of your region, je vais le demander en français ou en anglais, comment vous préférez? Yep. English? Okay. So the idea is how the interchange of knowledge will help your region and with your main threats. So if you want to explain a bit our threats in this case and how knowledge can help all that.
Merci Marc pour les questions. En rebondant sur ta phrase tout à l'heure, on dit aussi mieux venir tard que jamais. Et je crois que les 14 régions, ils ont arrivé juste à temps. Justement, cette initiative de partenariat pour l'action climatique méditerranéenne, il vient juste à temps. Nous avons besoin dans nos territoires à agir rapidement parce que justement, le changement climatique, ses effets s'accélèrent. Si on a commencé il y a quelques années à parler de réchauffement climatique et de l'objectif de ne pas aller au-delà de 1,5 degré, je crois que cet objectif n'est plus logique, pragmatique. Déjà, on parle dans quelques rapports scientifiques qu'on a dépassé les 1,1, 1,2. Et je crois à l'horizon 2030, on sera déjà au-delà des 1,5 déjà fixé. Maintenant, justement, le Maroc, en tant que pays africain, méditerranéen, justement, nous assumons les mêmes conséquences que partout dans les territoires méditerranéens. Normalement, on avait un climat méditerranéen aride au centre, mais avec le changement climatique, avec cette hausse de chaleur, on passe de plus en plus à un climat presque totalement aride. Et ça provoque principalement un problème au niveau des ressources en eau. Justement, vous avez parlé quelles sont les menaces, quels sont les risques. Nous, au Maroc, dans la région Tangier Al-Fatima, principalement, on a ce problème de manque de ressources en eau, surtout en eau potable et en eau pour l'irrigation. Et justement, la cause principale, c'est cette sécheresse, cette chaleur, cette irrégularité des précipitations. Et là, justement, je crois qu'avec l'initiative que nous lançons ensemble, ça sera l'espace idéal pour échanger de solutions, d'idées, de positions, pour justement trouver des solutions pour ces menaces. Bien sûr, vous avez parlé aussi de transfert de technologie. Ça, c'est un sujet qui revient à chaque année dans la COP. Et les questions justement de transfert de technologie, surtout pour les pays, je dirais, africains qui sont appelés à s'adapter au changement climatique. Ce sont des pays qui ne sont pas émetteurs de gaz à effet de serre. On ne peut pas parler d'atténuation dans ces pays, mais au moins on peut parler d'adaptation. Et là, l'adaptation, on sait tous que ça nécessite du savoir-faire, de la technologie. Et ça, c'est le rôle des pays développés, ou bien au moins des pays qui sont principalement à la source de ces atténuations. Donc, ce sont ces sujets. Je crois que si on se met tous à la table avec les mêmes objectifs, les mêmes priorités, je crois que on a parlé hier dans donc la table ronde que justement le diagnostic, il est là. Nous partageons les mêmes constats. Là, ce qu'il faut faire justement normalement, c'est accélérer cette action. Nous avons commencé à temps. Je crois il faut donner un objectif sur le court terme pour justement concrétiser ces engagements. Là, justement, si on veut parler des risques donc, causés par le changement climatique, donc, le temps alloué ne sera pas, ne sera pas capable de nous laisser le temps pour parler en tout. Mais quand même, l'inondation, peut-être au Maroc, ce n'est pas un grand phénomène, mais ça existe quand même. Il y a des villes, notamment la ville de Tanger, la ville de Tétouan que vous connaissez. Ces derniers temps, ont connu quelques phénomènes d'inondation, mais quand même, parfois, ça cause des pertes de vie et non pas seulement des pertes de matériel. Ça cause parfois des faits. Donc, et ça, tout ça, je crois, ce sont des sujets que nous devons régler, discuter ensemble autour de cette initiative. Merci, Marc.
Merci beaucoup. Je crois qu'il y a beaucoup d'idées qui sont très intéressantes à noter ici. Et aussi, it's very interesting as there are some ideas that really arise interesting. And I think that something that's incredible from this coalition, from this partnership, is that we are innovating. And because we are innovating, we are changing the ways we do and we manage. And that has been managed all these environmental crises. The first time the subnational governments were recognized in a COP was in Biodiversity COP in Montreal about 1 year ago. And nowadays, everybody understands the role of subnational governments as a main actor to work in this change. And it came to me a few words that I think that are really relevant when we change the way we think because of this alliance. And I would like to understand what evokes you these words as members of this coalition. One, for me, that really arises and it's interesting is the word integrate. The other one is, as I said before, innovate. And the third one is to understand the bioregional perspective. So I would like to know and understand what does evokes to you in order to make this partnership work in a straight way.
Well, I'll answer the word integrate. And I'll say that in California, one of our challenges historically has been that we deal with each of these threats very differently. So drought is one set of agencies doing, one suite of actions, wildfire different, extreme heat different. But the communities that face one of these threats often face many of these threats. So our challenge is how do we integrate all of our work and how do we take actions? How do we make certain investments that actually benefit the community and protect us against multiple threats? So we're very focused on nature-based solutions, as I know many of our partners are, because we feel like they provide those multi-beneficial outcomes. So not only, for example, increasing the amount of plants and trees in cities, not only beneficial to keep heat down, but also supports biodiversity and also improves quality of life in communities. So I'll be interested to learn from our partners around what they think are their most beneficial actions that are actually protecting against multiple threats with many benefits.
I will take innovate, if I might. And I will do an example. There is a little municipality in Santiago, really small, probably 8,000 people live there. And this particular municipality took a technique from Japan, which is Miyawaki technique, and planted a Miyawaki forest, and then in the other side, a regular forest. And we went to see that, and it was incredible, the difference between both. 3 times the size of this forest. So we said, well, this can be a climate refugee. So now we are doing 34 pocket forests, we call it pocket forest, in the city, in the urban part of the city, where the heat is, getting really high, to promote capture of CO2, but as well to be refugees for people. So that example in one region can be spread for all our Mediterranean regions. So we don't need NASA to innovate. Maybe we need Maria Pinto with the little town in the region, or the little town in any region of us. See how this technique works and scale to a bigger lands.
Bon, s'il y a quelque chose à ajouter à ce sujet, justement, l'innovation, la technologie, ça peut être une des solutions qui peut justement être devant nous pour faire face aux différents enjeux. Justement, par exemple, pour la question des parts de feu, il y a déjà, on peut parler de solutions normales, logiques, c'est l'effort de reboisement de forêt et de réserver des espaces justement pour le reboisement. Mais aussi, il y a aussi la sensibilisation. Les départs de feu, si principalement ils sont causés par la chaleur, mais aussi parfois il y a il y a l'intervention humaine qui quand même déclenche des départs. Et là, justement, si on parle par exemple pour le sujet dont j'ai parlé tout à l'heure, qui est le stress ou bien la pénurie hydrique, et on a au Maroc déjà commencé à penser à faire ce que nous appelons les autoroutes de l'eau, c'est-à-dire faire en sorte de faire bénéficier les régions qui souffrent des réserves d'eau en mobilisant de l'eau d'autres régions. Et ça, c'est un mécanisme quand même qui nécessite de la technologie parce que parfois, quand il y a une différence d'altitude entre les différentes régions, surtout quand la partie souffrant de l'eau, elle est un petit peu dans l'altitude, donc ça nécessite quand même des mesures innovantes pour faire remonter l'eau. Quand c'est l'inverse, quand même, c'est bien, on peut utiliser la pente normale. Parfois, donc, on a même dans des régions, nous avons des barrages, mais suite à cette pénurie d'eau, donc les niveaux de barrage sont au minimum. Et on a même pensé à utiliser ce qu'on appelle des berges flottantes. C'est pour pomper le peu d'eau qui reste en dessous des points de desserte pour justement pomper l'eau pour utiliser, donc pour au moins servir l'eau potable pour la population. C'est une des solutions et pour dire que justement, l'innovation, la technologie, c'est une des solutions sur lesquelles nous devons bien sûr s'associer à des experts, à l'université, au savant, justement, pour doter surtout les pays qui n'ont pas les moyens pour s'acquérir de ces technologies.
Merci. So innovation as a word brings all these consequences when we talk about MCAP, and also integration is another word that has brought some fruits. Another thing that makes innovative this alliance, not only the fact that we are the first time the whole of a kind of a region in the world, the Mediterranean in this case, all get together to work from this regional perspective, so from this approach, is the idea of understanding that climate and nature cannot be apart, because climate, at the end, is something affecting everything, and nature is our home. So if climate affects on our forests or in our wetlands, we are losing big reservoirs, we are losing the capacity to adapt, and cycles change and make all these situations that threaten our societies much more faster and stronger. How, in this case, we can work on fighting from this perspective? It's something that has arisen in a lot of conversations, and understanding natural-based solutions, as Secretary Crawford said before, is maybe one really interesting way on implementing some innovations. In fact, the case of Santiago is a clear case of natural-based solutions that can be exported all over. But in some points, we can also investigate together. And I think we have to understand maybe that this alliance is much more than an exchange between only governments, but also between societies. And I would like to pose you a little question related to that. How do you think this impact that we want to be clear and specific in our societies, and that's another particularity of our alliance, that wants to be effective, how we think that can be effective to our citizens, to our societies in the present and also in the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. I do think that we need to make sure that as we partner across regions, it's not only governmental leaders. First of all, you have to find the right people in government to actually share the information, but we also need partners. So we're agency leaders, but we were with legislators, our state senators last night, and we thought, you know, as we visit each other to learn this approach, I want to come see their pocket forests because we've been looking into that. But but seeing it in action will be helpful. But we want to bring our legislators, but we also want to bring our academic institutions and key research institutions, maybe businesses. We need to build up the connective tissue between our regions, because if we really want to help each other move further and faster, it's not just going to be a conversation or a working relationship between a governmental person here and a governmental person there. It's really going to have to expand. So we just had our first working group meeting yesterday. We launched, and then we had our first working group meeting. We're committed to being a partnership of action. We know that at this COP and at other COPs, a lot of partnerships get announced that are symbolic in nature. None of us have any time for that. So we're all focused on getting things done. So we had our first working group meeting, and we started talking about how we're going to work together, including visiting each other. So my proposal would be that when we do that, actually, that we consider bringing others from different sectors so that we can strengthen the connective tissue of the partnership.
Thanks. I agree. I think we need to connect with what I said, the table of 4 foots. I don't know if it's right in English. A table. You have the state. You need the academia. You need the social society, NGOs working all together. And I think we have also an opportunity here. I think the general message of climate problems and climate change is really overwhelming. People get afraid, young people get anxious, and I think our message is wrong. You know, I am Darwinian guy, so I know that the species that survive are not the strong one, but the more adapted to the environment. So I think we can promote in our Mediterranean regions a different message, a message of hope, a message of change, that change is good, and we can make it, we can adapt. Probably I'm thinking we are not going to focus much more in mitigate, but in adaptation, and how we can build the resilience in our regions and our cities, and how that can be part of the adventure. How can we engage people, our citizens, to this big challenge? And I think we have this opportunity from the beginning to have a positive message, to promote biodiversity conservation, to promote water efficiency, to care people about the extreme heat. We can do it. We can decrease the temperature of the cities. So maybe we have this opportunity too. We need to build a communication plan probably different than the others.
Peut-être que le système politique est dans les États, diffère d'un État à l'autre. De toute façon, Wade a parlé que les États aux États-Unis, ils ont cette compétence de législation. Au Maroc, c'est un pays justement qui a un système de région, mais quand même, il y a un gouvernement central qui a la compétence de légiférer, de faire les stratégies. Et justement, je voulais juste rappeler qu'à l'occasion de la COP22 au Maroc, à Marrakech, justement, il y a une initiative qui a été lancée par la CNUC, qui est Marrakech Partnership. Et justement, parce qu'on a remarqué que jusqu'il y a peu d'années, les ONG, les gouvernements locaux n'étaient pas impliqués dans cette dynamique de faire face au changement climatique. C'était les gouvernements centraux qui étaient à l'avant-garde des initiatives. Et justement, on s'est confronté à une situation, c'est que les États élaborent des stratégies, mais c'est dans les territoires que ces projets, ces initiatives doivent être territorialisés. Et c'est s'il y a quand même un projet ou bien initiative pour faire face à un sujet particulier d'atténuation ou bien d'adaptation, c'est au territoire d'être impliqué. Et c'est là que, justement, cette initiative, elle a un rôle très important d'impliquer davantage ces territoires à prendre le rôle dans cet engagement de territorialisation des engagements, mais aussi de territorialisation des projets qui représenteront des solutions aux différentes défis.
Merci beaucoup. En fait, pardon, sorry. A few years ago, part of my family is Italian, and with my family, who one of their members is in the government, or was in the government at that moment, we're talking about how things work in Italy, and especially in Mediterranean also. And he said, we are Italians, very good in emergencies, especially Italy is responding and organizing very well in emergencies when they are in a hurry. And I think in this case, things became a bit similar. From a first conversation 1 year ago, things have been going on. And who even could imagine that today we could be here doing this? And it's because we understood this is an emergency and that Mediterraneans can solve it. So we moved and we are acting. And I would like to make you a little question to envision, in the fact of vision. If we understand ourselves in 1 year in the same situation, or in 2 years, what would we expect to have done in order to be efficient, in order to accomplish with the fact that we have to make some clear things, exact things, and understand that this is serving for a purpose?
Well, first, over the next year, I think we need to be very clear and build a profile of each of our regions and both the challenges we face and the opportunities that we're seizing, including some of the things that we want to highlight, because I think we're learning from each other. I don't know the challenges of the regions of Morocco nor Santiago, but we need to learn. And I think there's a real good opportunity for the partnership to develop this outline in a way that's helpful for us, but to share publicly, because I don't think that many people, even at this COP, understand what we share in common. I also think that outline, that profile can be really important to our overall shared message. And I'm with you. I think having a positive shared message about taking action and adapting to climate change will be really helpful, because one, there is too much doom and gloom, and two, if we really want to mobilize our communities, we need to mobilize them around a positive vision. And then I think also within that year, we start to really home in on what are specific areas of focus. We know we're focused on drought, wildfire, and heat, but there's so much within that. So really understanding where do we want to, which governments are interested in which of those three threats, and then specifically what information and what areas within those threats do we want to exchange information on. So we'll come back to COP, wherever it is next year, with, I'm hoping, clear outline, a shared common message that we're amplifying across the world, and then some evidence of working together on very specific information sharing.
Yeah, and just to add that, we are pretty sure we are going to have an emergency. We don't know which one. We will have a drought, we will have a flood, or we will have extreme heat killing people, and fire. That is going to happen. Maybe we will have an earthquake. California and Santiago is also. So we can speed up and share the information and be supportive for the test what we are going to have. I think that is the first step. We are in an emergency. We need to get stronger, and then we need to think wider. I mean, how to prevent the emergency, and that is a long way, but it's the way I think we need to take together.
Oui, en fait, nous partageons en général les mêmes idées. Une année, ça paraît peu, c'est pas beaucoup justement, mais en termes d'accélération de changement climatique, c'est pas beaucoup. Mais en termes d'institutionnalisation de cette initiative, je crois qu'on a été évoqué. La première étape, c'est justement de se connaître les uns des autres. Quand même, nous parlons de 14 régions jusqu'à maintenant, des 5 continents, et nous espérons avoir d'autres régions avec nous. Donc, le premier effort, c'est justement de se connaître, de connaître quels sont justement, on a une impression qu'on partage les mêmes risques, les mêmes défis, mais quand même, il faut les échanger et avoir des documents. Peut-être le secrétariat de MCAP se chargera de la coordination des différents partenaires et les questions justement de structurer l'ensemble de ces défis. Et par la suite, j'espère qu'on arrivera avant l'année prochaine à un document qui structure l'ensemble des défis communs et pour justement commencer à discuter quelles sont les réponses à ces défis.
Merci beaucoup. I will make a last question, but I will open it to also the people who's attending to this meeting. And I think that in this last COP has been arisen a lot the idea of climate justice and how some countries that the ones that manage the budgets can help the other countries. But I think this alliance is a different and a very interesting way of justice, of climate justice, because we are working together, not just giving resources to some others, but making this problem a whole problem, a problem of the whole global Mediterranean areas. And to understand that work together also means avoiding these frontiers in the management of the climate risk and the climate crisis. So in this case, I would like to understand how you would see or understand that we can work together in this alliance from the perspective of hand to hand. So if there's someone of the attendants or maybe of the speakers that want to make this last answer, I'll be happy to pass the speakerphone.
Well, I would say, first of all, that climate resilience is climate justice because we will have an emergency over the next year or 2 or 3, and it will impact the most vulnerable communities. And so if we don't invest, if we don't get better and faster and bigger about protecting people, it's those most vulnerable that are going to be hurt. So I think inherently in the work is specifically focused on climate justice. But I also think it's about learning from each other, and it's about not suggesting that because of the size of a region or the wealth of a region that we have the answers to provide. I feel like there's going to be learning in all directions across 5 continents with this partnership.
Yeah, I am agree with my colleague here in California. I think it's really hard to me to split into social justice and ecosystem or climate justice because it's the same. If we, at least in the metropolitan region of Chile, if we study the heat strike much more in vulnerable places because they don't have trees. If some place of the city is going to flood, it will be in a vulnerable place. Maybe fire is something different, but I mean, when in our mind split social and the environment, I think it's a mistake. It's the same. We are the environment. We are nature as well. So I think we need to promote social ecological justice more than thinking 2 different things. But I don't know if maybe a question from the audience.
There's a microphone. Yep, there.
Is it on? I think it could be that we need to get a little ignition into the partnership where for a first step, because some of us are good at some things. So Western Cape might have good water plans and you might have good fire plans. So I think we should, as partners, share with one another one or two areas that we really think we're strong in. And then we can say, but you need more information on fire. Let's tap into California, and you need more information on water. Let's talk to Western Cape on day 0, because we need to get partnership fit. Once we have quick wins where the partners are learning from one another on specific areas. For example, how do you deal with awareness with youth? Maybe one of the regions have a good idea how to do it and they've been very successful. Once you get that quick wins, then people will start sharing with one another the areas where they are really good in, and then the others can follow. Thank you.
Pleasure. And I think, okay, Yeah.
In the same way, I think it could be useful to have some sort of score, because when you have a number or a benchmark, it's easier to follow the number, and we are very, it's easier to go when you say, for this mark, you need to do this strategy. Because we all think different, we speak different languages, so maybe a number for each goal or for each KPI, it's easier to understand for everybody.
so that's a really interesting thing, generating a common language, a common message, a common dictionary of what we do. And especially what we want is to be very specific. As Western Cape folks said, we need to be really effective and give exact responses to our crisis, because we are regions, we are capable to do it. We are next to the people and to the land, so we have the responsibility of making this be a reality. And this is what we are going to do, I think, in the next years with the help of all of you, because in this case, I think we are all very important, and we are all focused in being resolutive. And even if we start a bit late, even the speech, we can be very resolutive. So please, sorry.
And then I'll take, yeah.
Muchas gracias. Una última consulta, estando de acuerdo con lo que acá se ha planteado. Una de las claves para el éxito de esto, desde mi perspectiva, es efectivamente el intercambio de conocimientos y en las diferentes escalas en las cuales nosotros trabajamos, porque nuestras regiones son diferentes desde el punto de vista de su extensión, del punto de vista geográfico, de la cantidad de habitantes, también de los recursos con los cuales cuentan. Por lo tanto, un poco la clave es descubrir dónde están nuestras fortalezas y debilidades en función de estas diferencias, de estas brechas que existen, y cómo somos capaces de, a través del intercambio de conocimiento, de buenas prácticas, de modelos, ir en apoyo de nuestras regiones y combatir justamente las debilidades en función de los distintos modelos que nosotros tenemos y de las diferencias que existen y que yo creo que son obvias. Por lo tanto, yo creo que en ese sentido cobra mucha importancia poder reconocer estas fortalezas, estas debilidades, las diferencias, y trabajar en función de eso y ver cómo fortalecemos justamente las regiones y ayudamos a poder reducir estas brechas en el mediano y largo plazo, obviamente. Muchas gracias.
So thank you very much to all of you, all necessary folks. And I will give the word again to RCC folks so they can close the meeting.
Sounds wonderful. Before I wrap up here, I just want to thank the speakers and both in the audience and here on the panel and give a round of applause. So thank you. So as you've heard, each of the 14 members that launched MCAP, the Mediterranean Climate Action Partnership, yesterday have, highlighted the shared fate in terms of the impacts of climate change within each of the regions, but also a shared motivation to work together to really find solutions at scale, at pace and scale to meet the need on the ground. So a huge thank you to all the partners who have joined, who are rolling up their sleeves and are going to get to work with us over the coming years. I also want to thank our funders who have come in to support this important partnership, from the Hilton Conrad and Hilton Foundation and the Moore Foundation. Their support is invaluable, and we're very appreciative to them and their partnership. You could click to the second to last slide. Thank you. That's perfect. So as you heard yesterday, not only did we launch, all the members came to a room, rolled up their sleeves, and started talking about how do we take action and what does this look like and how do we really move forward. And as we've put up here, the members have committed to focusing in both in the working session as well as in the signing commitment last night to really driving action across these 5 areas that are on the left, or your left of the screen, around the 3 primary climate impacts here: drought, wildfire, and extreme heat. And in the coming months, we're going to be developing, as was mentioned here, many ideas, many components, really mapping out a plan forward on how implementation starts happening across these important areas of building a network, sharing learnings, partnering on implementation, and building a shared voice to really address and highlight the challenges and needs of Mediterranean regions around the globe. Next slide, please. Oh, next one. Oh, thank you. Great. So with that, we have a lot of work to do, and we definitely can't do it alone. So we invite you to reach out, to partner with us, to help us identify solutions. And we're excited that the website, which is up there on the slide, is up. We would love your engagement, and please send us a note, and we look forward to the work ahead. So with that, thank you.